I'm gonna say it right now because no one else wants to say it. Magic is the worst damage type in Dark Souls 3. I don't care what anyone else says. Magic is a horrible damage type. The sorceries are ass. The negations are even worse. So yeah, magic damage is just not good. So when I was doing a playthrough with the Moonlight Greatsword, I was expecting a lot of problems. However, weirdly enough, it was actually a pretty smooth playthrough until I got into the DLC. So let's talk about the Moonlight Greatsword in Dark Souls 3. You get this weapon from Osiris, which I personally really like. It kind of shows the similarities between Seath and Osiris and how they connect into the Dark Souls lore. However, that's gonna be the only lore dump this entire video. In every game, the Moonlight Greatsword looks absolutely stunning. Now, while this game I think has the most bland design, it still looks amazing. And especially because of how it plays. Now, first of all, I want to get something out of the way. The damage. Not necessarily to enemies, but to your weapon. This weapon has 75 durability, and each charge attack takes 4 durability, which means you're going to have to stack up on repair powders. However, unlike Dark Souls 1, bosses do give you enough time. While yes, there are bosses like Champion Gundyr who try to stay on your ass the entire fight, there are bosses like Nameless King, Slave Knight Gale, Midir, and others that will give you time to repair your weapon. Even the Soul of Cinder gives you time to repair your weapon. So, the damage to your weapon really doesn't matter. However, what does matter is the fact that it's a projectile. No matter what way you spin it, projectiles will always be good on a weapon, especially if they're free of FP cost. In this game, FP cost is extremely useful. Weapons with lower FP cost are more likely going to be better, mainly because you can spam it more often. And with this game being a lot of spam, you do want something that requires little to no FP to actually use, which is the Moonlight Greatsword. Especially since the projectile itself does huge amounts of damage to bosses. Well, most of them at least. Its skill, however, is where this weapon really shines. You do this plunging attack, which does thrusting damage, which is really good considering the hardest bosses in the game are weak to it. And it does almost as much damage as a charge attack too, in a quicker animation. Which means this weapon quite literally covers most fields. You can get your horizontal attacks, your diagonal attacks, you can get a thrusting attack. You have a lot of variety with this one weapon, and it's really cool. So why do people not like this weapon? It's because the game doesn't want you to like the weapon. You see, Dark Souls 3 doesn't like magic damage as I stated at the beginning of the video, because you'll find negations to magic here, here, here. This boss is 39% resistant to magic. Here, which personally makes no sense. Especially here, 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 and some other parts of the game that I'm probably forgetting. So yeah, it's not really forgiving to this damage type. However, there's a way to fix this. Since you're going majorly into intelligence, you're going to be given one of, if not the best sorcery in the entire game. Snap Freeze. If you're wondering what Snap Freeze does, it builds up frost super quickly. Being able to frost basically anything that isn't immune to it in one cast. Which is absolutely crazy. Frost is the best damage type in the game, period. Not only does it deal a chunk of the boss's health, however, you're also going to be able to do more damage in your next attacks. Unless you're using fire attacks. Then it just won't work. But having this option next to a weapon that does lots of magic damage is extremely useful in helping build creation. Because then you're not feeling like you're going to be underwhelming in any boss. Except for bosses that are immune to frost and also negate magic. Like Midir, who took a full 8 minutes to beat. No, that's not a joke. 8 whole minutes. That is absolutely insane. And that's why you should never use really any element on Midir, to be fair. Unless it's lightning. Use lightning against Midir. But if you have an intelligence build and you're suffering with Midir that much, just use Pestilent Mist. I couldn't because I forgot that that thing even existed, but Pestilent Mist is extremely useful against bosses like Midir. So, what are my overall thoughts on this weapon? It is an amazing weapon. One of the best greatswords in the entire game. And the weapon itself isn't bad. The game it's in simply just degrades it. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below what you'd like to see next. See you guys.